Let me ask you a personal question. It's a feeling many of us know, but few of us ever talk about. Have you ever felt that flicker of dread when the phone rings, or when someone knocks unexpectedly at your door? That instinct to just stay quiet and hope they go away? Many people brush this off as just being grumpy or getting old. But in my practice, I've seen how this seemingly harmless feeling can sometimes be a quiet, early warning sign. When ignored, it can lead to a type of social isolation that devastating studies have shown can be as damaging to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's a silent threat, a shadow hiding in plain sight in your own living room. But here's something that might surprise you. After 30 years of working with older adults, I can tell you that for the vast majority of my patients, this desire to be alone is not a red flag. In fact, it's often the exact opposite. It is a sign of profound emotional wisdom, a sign of strength. I'm not talking about theory. I'm talking about reality. I remember my patient, Margaret, a truly lovely woman, with a laugh that could fill a room. She used to be the life of her church group, but in her late 60s, she started quietly declining invitations. Her children, they were worried sick, thinking she was depressed. But when she and I talked, we uncovered something incredible. Margaret wasn't withdrawing. She was refining. She was finally, after a lifetime of service to others, choosing her own peace over social pressure. In this video, we're going to walk through the powerful, healthy reasons behind this change. I'm going to give you the tools to understand what's happening in your own mind and in your soul, so you can embrace this new chapter with confidence, not with fear. And please, be sure to stay with me until the very end. The final reason we'll discuss is backed by some fascinating, recent research on longevity. It's a secret to a longer, calmer life that is hiding within the very feeling you might be worried about right now. I'm Dr. Allen, and the advice I'm sharing today isn't from some dry textbook. It comes from thousands of conversations, in confidence, with wonderful people just like you, over many, many years. What we're about to discuss is grounded in both medical science and in real-life human experience. Before we dive in, I truly want to know how many of you have felt this. If what I just shared feels familiar, please comment a simple yes below. It shows me you understand, and more importantly, it shows others in our community that they are not alone. Okay, let's get started. Alright, let's get into our very first reason. And it's a big one. It's the moment you realize your tolerance for nonsense has dropped to near zero. For decades, you put up with it. The pointless small talk at neighborhood gatherings, the gossip that went nowhere, the one-sided conversations that left you feeling empty. But now, something has fundamentally changed inside you. Scientifically, there's a fascinating reason for this. Think of your mind like a garden you've tended your entire life. In your younger years, you let all sorts of plants grow. But now, in this season of your life, your brain begins a wise and wonderful process of pruning. It starts to expertly trim away the weeds. It cuts back the thorny bushes of gossip and the tangled vines of family drama. It does this to save precious mental and emotional energy, so that what truly matters, the beautiful, life-giving flowers, have room to grow. This is why, after 60 or 70 years on this earth, you've earned a kind of emotional PhD. You can spot what I call emotional noise from a mile away. You feel it in your bones. It's that feeling of being completely drained, almost hungover, after just 1 hour of a conversation that has no heart. I've seen this countless times with my patients. Just think about your brother-in-law, Bill, for example. Every Thanksgiving, for 30 years, he'd corner you and talk about his golf swing or his new car, without ever once asking how you are. When you were 40, you smiled and nodded. It was just what you did. But now you realize that an hour of your life is pure gold. You'd rather spend that precious time reading a good book, listening to music, or simply sitting in quiet reflection. And I want to be very clear about this. Walking away from that kind of conversation is not rude. It is not selfish. It is essential for self-preservation. So please, I'm giving you a doctor's permission. Allow yourself to politely excuse yourself from situations that drain you. You have earned the right to protect your peace. If this idea of no longer tolerating nonsense feels true for you, if it feels real, Please, take a moment and comment the word real below. It lets our whole community know they are in good company. Reason number 2. And this one is about a deep, internal shift that happens to all of us. Your priorities have fundamentally shifted. When you were younger, success might have looked like a full calendar. Invitations taped to the fridge, every weekend booked with parties, dinners, and events. You were chasing approval, popularity, maybe even a promotion at work. But now, you're chasing something far more precious. You're chasing peace. There's a well-studied psychological principle at play here. As we become more aware that our time is finite, that the road ahead is shorter than the road behind, our brains automatically recalibrate. It's a profound shift in focus. Your mind stops prioritizing quantity and starts demanding quality. This is the core reason why aging makes this change essential. It's no longer about how many people you know, but about how deeply you connect with the very few who truly matter. It's why a loud, crowded party can now feel utterly exhausting and pointless, while a quiet, one-on-one conversation with a trusted friend can feel like coming home. The social high you might have once gotten from a busy room is gone. It has been replaced by a deep, soulful craving for genuine understanding. This is exactly what was happening with my patient, Margaret, whom we talked about earlier. She told me once, sitting in my office, she said, "Dr. Allen, I used to feel so guilty turning down the church committee meeting. Now, I just feel a sense of relief." She wasn't being antisocial. She was being wise. She had realized that 1 hour spent quietly tending her garden brought her more joy and more true connection to life than 3 hours of pointless committee debates. So, here is your simple, practical tool. It's a question. Before you say yes to any invitation or social event, pause and ask yourself, will this conversation, this activity, will it nourish me or will it drain me? Listen to the very first answer that comes from your heart. That is your wisdom speaking. And after 60 or 70 years, it has earned the right to be heard. Now, the third reason is one we don't often speak about out loud. It's quiet, deeply emotional, and it's called grief. Over a long life, you inevitably experience loss. It's a fundamental truth of being human. Friends move away to Florida or Arizona. Cherished relationships fade with time and distance. And the hardest of all, loved ones pass on. Each loss is like a small tear in the social fabric of your life. And after 60, 70, or 80 years, that fabric can start to look very different. The phone book of your heart, it has names you can no longer call. And here's the quiet medical truth that people don't always understand. The human heart has a limited capacity for that kind of profound loss. After a lifetime of loving hard and losing hard, the idea of starting from scratch, of going out and trying to build a whole new social world, can feel completely and utterly overwhelming. It's not depression. It's a form of emotional self-preservation. Your soul is essentially protecting itself from further potential heartbreak. It's the spirit saying, I only have space now for what feels truly safe. I think of my patient, Robert. He lost his wife of 52 years, Eleanor. He told me that in the year after she passed, his world became incredibly quiet. His phone got quieter. Not because people were cruel, but because the social glue of his life, his beloved Eleanor, was gone. His kids urged him to join the senior center, to go on trips. But he resisted. He told me, Dr. Allen, I'm not giving up on life. I'm giving up on pretending. I don't have the energy for small talk with strangers. Robert's wisdom was profound. He knew that one meaningful phone call with his son, or a quiet cup of coffee with his one remaining best friend from the army, was worth more than 100 superficial interactions. The solution here is not to force yourself into a crowded room just to fill the silence. It is to treasure the gold that remains. Cherish those few, deep connections that have weathered the storms of life alongside you. Because when it comes to your heart, quality is not just more important than quantity. It is the only thing that truly matters. Reason number 4. And this is a physical reality of aging that we must talk about with honesty and compassion. You experience deep social fatigue. This isn't the kind of tired a good night's sleep can fix. It's not about being lazy. This is a bone-deep weariness that comes after social interactions. From a medical perspective, it makes perfect sense. Think of your social energy like a battery in a cell phone. When you were 25, that battery was brand new. It could last all day and all night. But after 60 or 70 or 80 years of constant use, that same battery just doesn't hold its charge for as long. And it takes much longer to recharge. And why is that? Because for decades, you performed a tremendous amount of what we call emotional labor. You were the peacemaker during family arguments. You were a good listener for a friend in crisis. You were the one who always remembered the birthdays, planned the holidays, and kept the connections alive. That is exhausting work. And over a lifetime, it takes a toll. Your body and your mind simply do not bounce back from social output the way they once did. I had a patient, Barbara, a wonderful great-grandmother. She told me she dreaded her great-grandson's birthday parties. And she felt so guilty about it. She described the loud music, the children running, and 3 different conversations happening at once. She said, "Dr. Allen, it feels like running a mental marathon, and after just 1 hour, I need the entire next day to recover." That feeling, that is a real physical symptom. That is social fatigue. So here is what I told Barbara, and what I am telling you now. It is not only okay to say no to draining events. It is medically necessary. You must start treating your peace and your quiet time as sacred appointments on your calendar. Protecting your energy is not a luxury. It is a vital part of your health plan. This one is so important. If you understand this deep feeling of social fatigue, please comment the word peace below, because that is exactly what you have earned. And that brings us to reason number 5. And in many ways, this is the most powerful one of all. You have finally, after a lifetime of learning, mastered self-awareness. Think of it this way. After driving the same car for 60, 70, or 80 years, you know its every sound. You know its every little quirk. You know what makes it run smoothly. And you know exactly what makes the engine knock. Your body and your soul are no different. You have spent decades gathering information and data on what situations and which people lift your spirit, and which ones quietly poison it. You are no longer guessing. You simply know. This is the core reason why aging brings this incredible clarity. It's a lifetime of trial and error culminating in a kind of internal wisdom. It's why you might feel a knot in your stomach just thinking about attending a certain family function, or why you feel a sense of dread when a specific person's name shows up on your phone. That physical feeling, that is not you being difficult. That is your finely tuned internal compass telling you, this way leads to stress. This way leads to peace. I had a patient, James, who played cards with the same group of men for 20 years. But one of the men, Frank, had become incredibly negative and complaining over time. James told me, "Dr. Allen, I'd come home from that card game, and my shoulders would be up by my ears. I felt tense for hours afterward." 4 years, he ignored that feeling. But finally, in his 70s, he permitted himself to stop going. And he felt a profound sense of relief. Here is the simple, powerful truth I want you to embrace. That gut feeling, that quiet instinct you have about people and situations, it is not being overly sensitive. It is data. It is the wisdom of your experience speaking directly to you. Creating distance from a person who drains you is not an act of cruelty towards them. It is an act of profound kindness towards yourself. Trusting that the internal compass is not a weakness. It is one of the greatest strengths of a life well lived. And now for our 6th reason. This one is a simple truth, but it changes everything. You have come to understand the true value of time. When you're 20 years old, an hour feels like a drop in the ocean. It's abundant. It's easily spent. But when you're 70 or 80, that same hour feels different. It feels like a gold coin held in the palm of your hand. It has weight. It has worth. This isn't a sad realization. It's a profound awakening to what is truly precious. Your perspective on your most valuable, non-renewable resource has become crystal clear. In my practice, I often give my patients a new way to think about this. I want you to try it. Imagine that you wake up each morning, and you are given exactly $100. Not real money, but $100 of your own personal energy. Your life force. Now, every single thing you do throughout the day has a cost that gets deducted from that budget. That stressful, 1-hour phone call with the insurance company? That just cost you $25. That 2-hour family dinner with a relative who always complains? That could be a $50 expense, easily. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you might find you're emotionally bankrupt, with nothing left in the bank for the people and activities that actually bring you joy. This is why you have become a wiser investor. You are no longer willing to spend your precious capital on things that offer no return. You instinctively know that a 30-minute phone call with your grandchild is a priceless investment, while a 2-hour committee meeting is a bad deal. So please, start using this simple but powerful tool. Before you agree to any coffee date, any phone call, any visit, I want you to pause and ask yourself one critical question. Is this a wise investment of my time and my energy? You are the chief financial officer of your own well-being. And choosing to spend your precious time on peace and joy, that isn't selfish. It is the wisest, most profitable investment you will ever make. Alright, this brings us to reason number 7. And this one is a sign of a mind that has grown incredibly sharp over the years. Your mind craves clarity, not clutter. Here is what I mean. When you are young, you often need a lot of time, a lot of evidence, to figure out if a person or a situation is truly good for you. But after 60 or 70 years of observing human nature, something remarkable happens. Your brain becomes a world-class expert at pattern recognition. You don't need a 3-month fallout to realize a friendship is one-sided. You don't need to be told that a smile is fake. You can see it. You can feel it almost instantly. This is a powerful cognitive skill earned through decades of experience. Your mind has become so efficient that it can cut through the social clutter, the flattery, the fake enthusiasm, the hidden agendas, and get straight to the truth. And here's the key. Once you see that truth so clearly, it becomes incredibly tiring, almost impossible, to pretend that you don't. Trying to engage in a conversation you know is insincere feels like trying to run in deep mud. It's a waste of precious energy. I had a patient, Evelyn, who recently stepped back from a book club she'd been in for years. She told me, "Dr. Allen, there's a new member who is just all surface. It's all compliments and smiles, but there's nothing real behind it." 20 years ago, I would have tried for months to make that friendship work. Now, one conversation tells me everything I need to know. And frankly, I'm too old to play games. Evelyn wasn't being judgmental. She was being clear. Her mind was craving authentic connection, not social clutter. So, here is my advice to you. Please, trust this clarity. It is a gift you have given to yourself. You no longer need to justify why you left the party early or why you didn't return a certain phone call. You are not obligated to spend your time navigating insincerity, simplifying your social world. It's not about pushing people away. It's about making room for what is real. And on the inside, that doesn't feel like loneliness. It feels like relief. Number 8. You are retiring from emotional labor. For decades, you've likely held a job you never applied for, one with no salary, no vacation days, and 24-hour shifts. You were the family's emotional switchboard operator. The one who listened to everyone's problems, who mediated arguments between siblings, who soothed hurt feelings, who remembered all the birthdays and the anxieties that came with them. 4 years, you were the emotional glue holding everything and everyone together. But the thing about glue is, it has to hold itself together, too. And after a lifetime of pouring yourself out for others, you might be feeling the profound exhaustion of realizing your own cup is now empty. This isn't just feeling tired. It's a deep, soul-level weariness. This is the core reason it becomes so essential to address this as we get older. The constant stress of managing other people's emotions puts a real, physical strain on our own system, contributing to that brain fog, the unexplained anxiety, or the feeling that you're always on edge, waiting for the next phone call, the next crisis. I remember a client of mine, a wonderful woman named Brenda. Her 2 grown sons, both in their 40s, would not speak to each other. Instead, they would each call Brenda to complain about the other. She spent her days carrying their anger, their resentments. She told me, her voice so soft, "I feel like I'm a permanent bridge for two people who refuse to cross." She was exhausted, her own friendships were suffering, and she felt completely trapped by the love she had for her children. So, here is what she did. It was simple, and it was terrifying for her. The next time her son called to complain, she listened patiently, and then she said, "I hear how upset you are, and I love you. But this is a conversation you need to have with your brother, not with me." She retired. She gently, lovingly, retired from the role of mediator. What happened? It was difficult for a week or two. But then, her sons started talking. They had to. And the people who truly care, they will stay. Your relationships won't break. They will simply rebalance into something healthier. You have a right to step back. You have a right to your own peace. Your job as the emotional manager is over. It's a retirement you have more than earned. Number 9. Your physical body sets new rules. There's a quiet, frustrating negotiation that starts to happen after a certain age. It's the one between your mind, which still remembers and craves the energy of a bustling family dinner party, and your body, which now sends a very clear memo that a loud, late evening is no longer a good idea. You want to say yes to the invitation, but you know, deep down, that you will pay for it, for days. This isn't a failure of spirit. It's the simple, undeniable truth that your physical body now has a new set of non-negotiable rules. The core reason this shift feels so jarring is that we've spent our lives learning to push through fatigue. But as our bodies age, the systems that manage energy and recovery operate differently. The adrenal system is more sensitive to stress, including the stress of loud noises or simply being on for too long. That nagging ache in your joints isn't just in your head. It's a real signal that your capacity for inflammation has changed. So when you feel that sense of sensory overload in a crowded restaurant, or that bone-deep weariness after a 2-hour social event, your body isn't being difficult. It's being honest. I think of my friend, Eleanor. For 30 years, she hosted a big, loud, wonderful Christmas Eve dinner. The whole family, grandkids running everywhere, music playing, dishes clattering. It was her favorite night of the year. But in her late 70s, she confessed to me that she had started to dread it. The thought of the preparation, the noise, the sheer exhaustion afterward. It filled her with anxiety. She said, "The joy is gone. It just feels like a job now, and I'm too tired to do it." She was about to cancel the tradition altogether. But instead, she decided to listen to her body and change the rules. She sent out an email and announced a new tradition, a quiet Christmas Eve brunch. From 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., people could come and go. There would be coffee and pastries. No loud music, no late night. The first year, she was nervous. But it was magical. The conversations were gentler. She could actually hear what her grandkids were saying. And by 3 p.m., her house was quiet, and she had the energy to actually enjoy the evening. She didn't give up her family. She just created a way to enjoy them that honored her body. This is the solution. It is not about retreating from life. It's about redesigning it. Choose a quiet lunch instead of a noisy dinner. Opt for a short visit instead of a long weekend. You are not becoming antisocial. You are simply becoming wise. Number 10. This shift can actually extend your life. We have been told a very powerful and very frightening story for our entire lives. Loneliness kills. We've seen the headlines that say being isolated is as dangerous as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. And there is a truth to that. But it's also incomplete, because it fails to distinguish between the pain of forced isolation and the profound power of chosen solitude. What if I told you that intentionally choosing to spend more time alone, on your own terms, could be one of the most powerful health decisions you ever make? The science on this is becoming incredibly clear. When researchers studied the blue zones, the places around the world where people live the longest, healthiest lives, they found that while community was important, so were factors like radically lower stress levels and living in a peaceful environment. Here's the core reason why this is so critical. When you are constantly in social situations that drain you, or navigating relationships that are quietly toxic, your body is marinating in the stress hormone, cortisol. Cortisol is the engine behind chronic inflammation, and inflammation is a root cause of so many age-related diseases. So when you make the conscious choice to step back, to have a quiet evening instead of a draining dinner party, you are literally giving your body a vacation from its own most damaging chemical. Think about that feeling of relief when a stressful social event is canceled. That isn't just a thought. It's a physical reality. It's your nervous system calming down. It's your inflammation markers decreasing. You are not isolating. You are healing. See this time alone as a prescription, a powerful, free therapy to preserve your energy for the people and moments that truly, deeply matter. If this is surprising to you, comment healthy below. So let's go back to my patient, Margaret, the woman who felt so overwhelmed by the sheer effort of keeping up with everyone. Today, she is thriving. Her calendar isn't full, but her heart is. She discovered that her peace was more valuable than her popularity. So she traded a wide circle of acquaintances for a small, trusted circle of true friends. She didn't withdraw from life. She withdrew into her life, focusing on the people and activities that brought her genuine joy. And her story holds the most important lesson for us today. Remember, this journey inward is not a retreat. It's an arrival. It's a homecoming. You are not becoming less social. You are, perhaps for the first time in a very long time, becoming fully and authentically you. And that is a beautiful, powerful thing. Now, as we finish, I have a question for you. And it's the most important part of our time together. Based on everything we've talked about, I want you to make a promise to yourself. In the comments below, tell me the one small change you promised to make this week to honor your own peace. It could be as simple as, I will say no to one thing I don't want to do, or I will spend 15 minutes in quiet, just for me. Your promise matters. And finally, if this message resonated with you, if it felt true, please click the like button so I know we're on the right track together. Be sure to subscribe to join our wonderful community here, where we support each other on this journey. And please, share this video with one person you know who might need this permission, this gentle reminder to put their own peace first. You might be giving them the gift of peace of mind. Thank you for being here. Until next time, be good to yourself.